The first day of being on a divorce reality show with my A-list husband. In front of the cameras, he said to me with a resolute and cold attitude, "Ashley Lynn, don't waste your energy trying to please me anymore. I'm definitely getting this divorce." By the fourth day of filming, I agreed to his request for a divorce. But then he suddenly panicked, begging me not to divorce him. But this time, I want to switch lives with him. I return to the stage, and he's ruined. One Let's Say Goodbye is a live divorce reality show. Participating in this show was my own initiative. Ethan She and I were in love for 3 years and married for 5. His acting career wasn't affected by getting married early. On the contrary, it took off because he often showed off his affection on Twitter, earning him the title of Nation's Good Husband. In the past 2 years, he's been flooded with endorsements and scripts. But our marriage is flashing warning signs. So, Ethan and I went on Let's Say Goodbye to try and win back my husband Ethan's heart with the help of the show and the audience. Unexpectedly, I angered Ethan on the first day of the show. It started when the production team asked Ethan and me to sleep in separate rooms. I was worried Ethan wouldn't be used to the bedding in the Airbnb, so I changed it to the bedding set I brought from home. While making the bed, Ethan said to me, "Just leave it, I'll change it myself." He said it, but he stood there with his arms crossed, not even trying to lift a finger. Seeing this, I continued to change the bedding set for him and casually said, "You've never done this before, I'll do it." Who knew that Ethan would suddenly explode? "Ashley, why are you always like this?" I said I wanted to do it myself. "Do you not understand English?" I stammered, explaining, "I just wanted to make things easier for you." But Ethan didn't appreciate it. "I don't need it." In front of the cameras, he said to me with a resolute and cold attitude, "Ashley Lynn, don't waste your energy trying to please me anymore. I'm definitely getting this divorce." I froze. I thought the viewers in the live stream room would be as bewildered and at a loss as I was, not understanding why Ethan was so easily angered and irritable. But when I picked up my phone before going to bed that night, I saw that the clip of me making the bed for Ethan had been posted online. The comments were all criticizing me. Too, "I'm so done. Ethan clearly said he'd change the bedding himself. Why can't Ashley understand? Is she a robot? Seeing Ashley is like seeing my mom, always acting like it's for my own good, taking care of everything for me, and then saying I'm lazy." I can feel Ethan's suffocation from this mom-like controlling behavior even through the screen. If Ashley has always been this overbearing, it's a miracle Ethan has waited until now to file for divorce. He's the ninja god. I looked at the comments filling the screen and fell into thought. So, my concern and care for Ethan were overbearing, controlling. It made Ethan feel suffocated and uncomfortable. I reflected all night without sleeping. When I got up the next morning, my eyes were swollen like I had been crying. When I went to the diner for breakfast and saw another female guest and the show's host, they were both shocked. "Ashley, have you been crying?" asked Laura Sue, a fashion and beauty influencer with millions of fans online. Her marital status was the same as mine, flashing warning signs, and she didn't want a divorce either. That's why she chose to be on Let's Say Goodbye. The host, Ian Jeong, was a rising star pianist. Laura thought I was affected by the online criticism and comforted me, "Don't pay too much attention to what people say online." Ian went to the refrigerator, took out an ice pack, and handed it to me to reduce the swelling. But my attention was drawn to the cameras around me. Is the production team already live streaming this Earl? Why? Then I have to go wake Ethan up. I was anxious to get him up, not noticing that Laura's words of comfort were stuck in her throat, nor that Ian was holding the ice pack in midair. Even less did I notice how impolite my turning away was to the two of them. Ethan's room was on the second floor of the Airbnb. I knocked on the door for a long time before he opened it, his hair a mess, asking me, "What's wrong? You should get up for breakfast." I wanted to remind him that everyone else was already up, but I only got halfway through the sentence before Ethan interrupted me. "Ashley, it's only 7 o'clock. If I remember correctly, the production team scheduled breakfast for 8 o'clock and group activities for 9 o'clock. I rarely get a break from filming and want to sleep a little longer." He scratched his hair. "I'm not hungry, you go ahead and eat." "But didn't you say you wanted to take advantage of this time off to take care of your health?" As usual, I insisted on persuading him to get up. You can eat your fill and then go back to sleep. But as soon as the words came out, I saw impatience flash in Ethan's eyes, and I knew I had made another mistake. Sure enough, the next second, he took a deep breath and said in a very weak tone, "Ashley, you're really stubborn, never listening to my needs, doing things that only move yourself. Do you know that when I see you now, even if the air around me is fresh, I still feel like I'm drowning, unable to breathe?" I panicked and quickly apologized to him. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, I just..." But Ethan didn't have the patience to listen to me anymore, interrupting me abruptly. "Okay, don't say anything. I'll listen to you. I'll get up and eat breakfast. I won't sleep anymore." He turned to wash up. I stood blankly at the door, looking at his back, wanting to say something but stopping myself. Asking him to get up for breakfast was what he asked me to do. I've been doing it for so many years, and he's always enjoyed it. How did it become me being stubborn, moving myself, and having controlling tendencies that annoyed him just because we were on a divorce show? I didn't understand, and I couldn't explain it. For after breakfast, it was time for group activities. We were going hiking, which was part of the schedule arranged by the production team, intending for us to support and rely on each other during the hike and regain our former feelings. But during the hike, no matter what Ethan and I said, he remained silent. After saying too much, all I got was Ethan's helpless plea, "Ashley, the scenery in the mountains is so beautiful, can you look elsewhere and let me have some peace and quiet?" By the time the hike was over, Laura and her husband's relationship had improved. Ethan and I, however, seemed to be rewinding. Our feelings were only regressing, not progressing. That night, the clip of me asking Ethan to eat breakfast was once again cut out and criticized by netizens. But more than the breakfast clip, what angered netizens more was that I didn't acknowledge Laura and Ian when they were comforting me, and turned away to wake Ethan. "I'm so done with Ashley." Laura was kindly comforting her, and Ian was handing her an ice pack, but she just turned and left. Did she grow up without parents? She has no manners. Laura and Ian have such good tempers. If it were me, I'd roll my eyes at her. The netizens were harshly and mercilessly scolding me. I scrolled through the comments one by one, realizing that in the years I'd been married to Ethan, I had quit my job, focused my life entirely around him, and couldn't see anyone or anything else. Maybe Ethan and the netizens were right. My excessive attention to Ethan would only suffocate him. No one wants to live constantly under someone else's watchful eyes, 24/7. I should change and try to shift my attention away from Ethan, giving him some breathing room. Therefore, on the third day of filming, I got up early, went to the kitchen to make breakfast, and even made a cake for dessert, to apologize for ignoring Laura and Ian yesterday. I was a good cook, and the guests all enjoyed the food. Ian was generous in praising me. "Ashley, you're a really good cook. This cake is even better than what you buy outside." Ethan is so lucky. But Laura didn't touch the dessert cake I made especially for her. I thought it wasn't to her taste, so I asked, "Don't you eat desserts? I made this especially for you." But then I heard Ethan's voice coming from the staircase. "Ashley, don't you know Laura is on a diet?" I looked up. Ethan walked down the stairs, questioning me indifferently in front of everyone. "Yesterday Laura kindly comforted you, but you ignored her, so you were right to get backlash online. How could you hold a grudge and deliberately make cake as revenge against Laura?" In a few words, he ruined the light-hearted and pleasant atmosphere. Under everyone's varied gazes, I panicked and tried to explain. I searched online and saw her fans said Laura liked to eat desserts and cake, so I made it. I turned to apologize to Laura. "I'm sorry, I didn't know you were on a diet. I just wanted to apologize for yesterday and thought of making a dessert cake that you liked." Laura waved her hand, not minding. "It's okay, it's just a bite or two, it doesn't matter." But Ethan accused me of emotional manipulation. "Since you searched online, how could you not know that Laura has been sugar-free for half a year in preparation for pregnancy? Ashley, you're using an apology as an excuse to force Laura to either break her diet and eat sugar, or refuse you, making her look petty and inviting criticism from the audience." I was stunned. I clearly meant to apologize, but I didn't expect to be misinterpreted by Ethan as malicious. I had been in love with him for 3 years and married for 5, 10 years. I thought he loved me as much as I loved him. But I didn't. Expect that in his heart, I had become such a venomous woman. Seeing the atmosphere was wrong, Laura quickly tried to smooth things over. It's not that serious. I believe Ashley just wanted to offer me cake. But Ethan's words were unrelenting, not letting me off the hook. Don't be fooled by her. She's used this trick on me countless times. Last year, I had an opportunity to work with Jack Young on that sci-fi movie. The script was in my hands, and I had to cut fat and lose weight to fit the role. Ashley knew this, but she still made me muscle-building meals every day. If I didn't eat them, she'd say it was the food she worked so hard to make. How could I bear to waste it? And then she'd bring up whether I was starting to dislike her now that I was famous, to emotionally manipulate me. I didn't want to argue with her, and in that month, I gained 20 pounds because of her, which led to me missing out on that collaboration. Ashley, on the other hand, blamed me for not being disciplined enough and missing out on this opportunity. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone fell silent and looked at me in unison. Jack Young is a well-known director in China. The sci-fi movie he made last year became a critical and box office success when it was released at the beginning of this year. The male lead even rose to the front line because of this movie, and his popularity once surpassed Ethan, taking away many of Ethan's film and commercial opportunities. It was also because of missing out on this movie that Ethan gradually became cold towards me, and even gave me a marital property agreement 2 months ago. The agreement stated that for the 5 years of our marriage, all our joint property would be divided 2-8. He gets 8, I get 2. If I didn't sign, he would divorce me. But on the night I signed the marital property agreement, Ethan filed for divorce, claiming we had nothing in common. I didn't want a divorce, so at the suggestion of Ethan's agent, I took the initiative to drag Ethan onto Let's Say Goodbye, a live divorce reality show. Now, facing the strange gazes of everyone, I suddenly lost the strength to explain. And Ethan's accusations made the already unfavorable public opinion even more harsh and agitated. Soon, the hashtag Ashley Lynn caused Ethan to miss out on the male lead and Planet hashtag shot to the top of trending. Clicking on the hashtag, all I saw were Ethan's fans scolding me. Ethan had spent 5 years getting to where he was today. The only regret for him and his fans was that he hadn't won the Oscar for Best Actor. It turns out that Ethan could have won the award he dreamed of this year, but Ashley interfered, causing him to miss out on the award. Ethan is so unlucky to have married such a wife. Help, that's the Oscar. Missing out on this award is a regret for life. I'm not a fan, but I still feel sorry for Ethan. At Ashley Lynn, please let Ethan go. He supported you for so many years, he's already done more than enough. At Ashley Lynn, divorce Ethan. I'll go harass your parents every day you don't divorce him. I know where your parents live. 7 As public opinion continued to ferment, by night, emotionally charged Ethan fans had started photoshopping my funeral portraits and dug out my parents' address, planning to send wreaths to my parents. I tried to contact Ethan's agent, hoping the agent could help suppress the public opinion. But no matter if I sent messages or made phone calls, the agent didn't respond. I could only go to Ethan. Who knew that Ethan wouldn't acknowledge me either? So I got up, planning to go to Ethan in person. By this time, it was past midnight. The production team's live stream was already turned off, and the staff had gone off work to rest. I walked to Ethan's room, and just as I was about to raise my hand to knock on the door, I heard Ethan talking to his agent on the phone. The agent said, "Tomorrow you'll create a little more conflict, so she takes the initiative to file for divorce." Ethan hesitated, but the current public opinion is already very unfavorable to Ashley. I saw the trending, but it's not enough. The agent interrupted him. Ashley accompanied you from obscurity to where you are today. If you want to divorce her painlessly, without hurting your reputation, without taking any blame, you have to make her name stink and put yourself in the position of the victim in this marriage. Ethan was silent for a long time, then responded, "Okay." I heard everything outside the door, my whole body cold, trembling uncontrollably. I always thought there was still room to salvage my marriage with Ethan. I didn't expect that while I was wishfully trying to salvage it, Ethan had already set up a trap, waiting for me to jump in and start a public opinion trial against me. All for the sake of making me take the initiative to file for divorce under the pressure of public opinion, so he wouldn't have to bear the blame of being unfaithful, wouldn't lose any reputation, and could gain the sympathy and pity of the public. I stumbled back to my room, my heart aching as if torn apart by a wild animal, but I couldn't cry a single tear. When I married Ethan, he had just debuted and was playing nameless supporting roles in the entertainment industry. At that time, I was a dancer in the prime of my career. To let him focus on filming, I listened to him, quit my job, went with him to the set, and took care of his food and daily life. I spent 5 years accompanying him from obscurity to the peak, but all I got in return was a scheme. 8 the next morning, Ethan appeared with a sleepy expression, smiling and greeting everyone who was eating breakfast, but ignoring me. In the past, I would have been saddened and shown my emotions on my face. But now, my heart was as dead as ashes, and faced with Ethan's neglect, I was as calm as still water. I lowered my head to drink my porridge, not saying a word. Laura noticed my abnormality, and after breakfast, she went to persuade Ethan to coax me. Laura said, "I saw the comments about Ashley online, they're very unfriendly to her, and even involve her parents. No matter what happens between you two in the future, you're still husband and wife now, you shouldn't drag her parents into it." Ian Jiang, as the show's host, didn't want the atmosphere to be too stiff either, and also persuaded Ethan, "I've seen Ashley's performances. Back then, she had a bright future. If she hadn't gotten married and chosen to be a stay-at-home wife, maybe she would have become a world-renowned ballerina. Now, no matter how many unbearable shortcomings Ashley has, she's not wrong in loving you." Perhaps these words awakened Ethan's old feelings for me, and he was actually willing to patiently come and coax me, and even promised to buy me the peanut brittle I loved. But when he bought the peanut brittle and handed it to me, I took a bite. But I found that the peanut brittle was sesame flavored. A wave of nausea instantly surged in my stomach, and I couldn't help but spit out the bite of peanut brittle. Ethan's expression changed, and he accused me, "Ashley, what do you mean by this? I specially bought peanut brittle for you. If you don't want to eat it, you don't have to waste food like this." Perhaps I was so angry that I became incredibly calm. "You clearly know I never eat sesame-flavored peanut brittle, and you clearly know I'm allergic to sesame, but you still bought this flavor for me to eat." Just as he said to his agent in the room last night, he was deliberately disgusting me, creating conflict and strife. In front of the live stream cameras, I said, word by word, "Ethan, as you wish, after the show, we'll get a divorce." The show's live stream was for 10 days. No one expected that I would agree to the divorce on the 4th day. For a moment, not only the staff on site and the viewers in the live stream room were stunned, even Ethan was stunned. Divorce was what he asked for, but now that I agreed, he didn't feel happy at all. Instead, he sneered and said, "Okay, whoever doesn't divorce is a dog, don't you dare go back on your word." 9 Ethan was sure I was using a feint, playing hard to get. But in the following segments of the show, I used my actions to tell Ethan and the viewers in the live stream room that I had really given up on this marriage. No matter if the production team arranged group activities or one-on-one trips between couples, I tried my best to cooperate, but I no longer took care of Ethan thoughtfully. I wouldn't prepare his drinking water, sun hat, sunscreen, and other items in advance. Nor would I keep staring at him all the time. My gaze was no longer fixed on Ethan, but turned to the mountains, water, clouds, and mist behind him. The scenery was so beautiful, my eyes shouldn't only look at someone who no longer loved me. And Ethan seemed to be angry with me, deliberately treating me coldly, ignoring my existence. He thought that this would make me feel bad. But he didn't expect that I wouldn't pay attention to him anymore, wouldn't say or do unnecessary things to him, and wouldn't pay attention to the online criticism and scolding against me. I tried to spend my time and energy on pleasing myself. That night, at the bonfire party specially arranged by the production team, I changed my barefaced look from the previous few days, put on a colorful red dress, and wore delicate makeup. As soon as I appeared, I caught everyone's eye. "Ashley, your makeup looks really good." As a beauty influencer, Laura was the first to praise me. To see my makeup clearly, she even moved her chair next to me and sat next to me. Ian also came over, looking me up and down. "I've seen you wear this dress before. 5 years ago, when you first danced at the New York City Opera House, you wore this red dress, right?" I was stunned. "How do you know?" This dress was indeed the one I wore when I first took the stage. It was also after that stage performance that Ethan, who was under the stage, proposed to me with flowers. I specially brought this red dress on the show, originally planning to wear it and relive the sweetness of those years with Ethan. But now that I wore it again, it was just to please myself. Ian smiled, because I was the one who accompanied you on the piano that year. That dance danced into my heart, and I thought you would go on to the international stage and fulfill your dream. But I didn't expect that what I waited for later was the news of your marriage and withdrawal from the stage. As Ian said this, a hint of regret flashed in his eyes. But soon, he stood up, asked the staff to bring out a piano, and asked me, "Ashley, do you dare to dance that dance again?" I paused for a few seconds and nodded slowly. Of course I dare. Although I had been focused on Ethan for the past 5 years of our marriage, I hadn't given up dancing. Whenever I had time, I would go to a special dance training room to practice dancing, and I had also participated in the composing of many film and television dramas. Therefore, even though I hadn't been on stage for 5 years, I wasn't stage shy. In Ian's music, I danced gracefully in the evening breeze. The red skirt fluttered lightly, and for a moment, I felt like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon, flying towards freedom. After a dance, the atmosphere immediately heated up. Everyone was talking to me. Even Ethan became considerate to me, taking a blanket to cover me, as if our relationship hadn't broken down, gently reminding me, "It's cool at night, be careful not to catch a cold." I was slightly stunned, looked up at him, and found that there wasn't a ripple in my heart. I could clearly feel that my love for him was fading at this moment. And Ethan's gaze towards me became passionate. That day, the hashtag #AshleyDan Sing hashtag went viral. It wasn't until after the show's live stream ended that I got my phone and realized that the clip of me dancing had gone viral. And as a result, it was revealed that I had participated in the choreography of many film and television dramas in the past 5 years. Netizens no longer scolded me in a one-sided way, and began to have some goodwill towards me. To be honest, Ashley is really pleasing to the eye when she dances. No wonder Ethan married her. When I saw Ethan's fans attacking Ashley, but not blackening her looks, I knew Ashley wasn't bad looking. But I never expected that after this sister got dressed up, she was more than just not bad looking, she could simply overshadow a group of female stars in the entertainment industry. There are no more than 100 dancers who can perform on the New York City Opera House stage, and Ashley is the youngest one in history. It's a pity that she not only got married early, but also withdrew from the stage directly after marriage. When she married Ethan back then, Ethan was the one who climbed up to her. As a result, this sister was love-brained and gave up her great future for a man. I specially searched for the video of her dancing back then, and I can only say that I also fell in love. No wonder Ian remembered her for 5 years. Even director Jack Young, who had been in seclusion writing a script, suddenly tagged Ethan and posted a tweet. Ethan is a very dedicated actor. Last year, the crew's budget was limited. I negotiated with Ethan's agent several times on the salary, but we couldn't reach an agreement. I regret missing the opportunity to work with Ethan. I would like to clarify this matter today, and I hope Mr. Shu will not misunderstand Ashley and affect their relationship. P.S. Ashley is my wife's last disciple, and she was the one who strongly recommended Mr. Shu to play the male lead before. 11. This tweet went viral in just 10 minutes. Wow, director Young. S. wife is a national first-class actress, a famous ballet dancer, and an old artist known as the Eastern Swan Princess. Ashley is actually director Yang's wife's last disciple, so Ethan missing out on the male lead in Planet has nothing to do with his wife, but rather his wife was the one who connected him and gave him the opportunity to play the male lead, but his agent rejected the role because the salary was too low. This is really hilarious, everyone. Ashley is beautiful, can sing and dance, and has a lot of connections. Why would a top star want to get a divorce? Now that his wife is really gone, he'll regret it. Ashley is so miserable, taking care of a top star like a nanny all these years, connecting him, but still being cyberbullied by the top star and his fans. Where are the top star's fans who were all over the place blackening Ashley these past few days? Aren't you going to come out and apologize? While the netizens were surprised, they couldn't help but recall the cyberbullying against me last night. But those fans who had previously scolded me for hindering Ethan's career and wanted to send wreaths to my parents all lost their voices, and none of them came out to apologize to me. Laura couldn't stand it anymore and screenshotted director Jack Yang's tweet and sent it to me, indignantly saying, "Ashley, you've really been carrying a big burden. The methods of the entertainment industry are really high. The ability to reverse black and white is unbelievable." It was then that I learned that the reason Ethan didn't play the male lead in that sci-fi movie wasn't because he ate the nutritious meals I made for him and his weight returned to normal, but because the agent thought the salary was too low and directly turned down the movie behind Ethan's back. This became the trigger for my divorce with Ethan. I blamed myself for this for a year and a half, and in the face of Ethan's cold violence, I didn't dare to have a trace of resistance or complaint, but instead doubled my efforts to please him. But I didn't expect that the origin of all this wasn't me. At this moment, Ethan's voice sounded outside the door. "Ashley, let's talk." 12. I opened the door and asked him in front of the live stream cameras, "Talk about what?" Ethan had just taken a shower, his hair was half wet, falling down softly, making his whole temperament soft. It gave me an illusion that the person standing in front of me was just the sunny boy who loved me so much back then that he wanted the whole world to know. Not the big star who was already famous and had to bring a dozen or 20 bodyguards when he traveled. "I misunderstood you about the movie thing before." Ethan's amber eyes were filled with apology and regret. "I didn't know my agent turned down that movie because of the salary. In the past, I would have been so easily swayed and forgiven him. But now, I felt nothing. I just asked him in a flat tone, and then?" Ethan seemed taken aback, probably not expecting me to be so cold. After all, in our 5 years of marriage, I was always the one who accommodated and indulged him. No matter what conflicts arose, as long as he took a small initiative, I would give him an easy way out and let things drop. This was the first time I didn't meet him halfway. Ethan's face finally betrayed his surprise. After a long silence, he asked, his voice tight, "How come you never told me you knew Ian Jiang?" I tilted my head, saying softly, "I did. The year before last, I told you I met a new teacher who praised me a lot. But you didn't pay attention. Early last year, I also mentioned that it was my teacher's birthday and that my teacher was Ian Jiang's wife, and I wanted you to come to the birthday party with me to meet Ian Jiang." But what was Ethan's reaction back then? He didn't care. My words went in one ear and out the other. On my teacher's birthday, Ethan made an excuse to meet with the investors of a movie, pushing aside my teacher's birthday party. He looked down on me. Consequently, he didn't care who my teacher was, even when I told him that my teacher's partner was the famous director Jack Yang. He didn't listen. He thought it was just some insignificant nobody. It was at my teacher's birthday party that I learned that Ian Jiang was planning to make the movie Galaxy, and I shamelessly recommended Ethan to Ian Jiang. Ian Jiang immediately decided to cast Ethan as the male lead. Who knew that something that was originally a sure thing was rejected by Ethan's agent because the budget for Ethan's salary was only 10 million. Now that the truth is out, he actually has the nerve to ask me why I never told him I knew Jack Young. I gave a sarcastic smile. "Ethan, we've been married for 5 years. I've taken care of you like a nanny, doing everything meticulously and personally. I've never wronged you. On the contrary, you ignored me, disregarded me, watching me fall into self-blame and pain for a year and a half, even to the point of taking medication to ease my emotions, and you never asked. I told you a long time ago who my teacher was, and that her husband was Jack Young. I've never hidden anything from you. You've just ignored me for too long." Ethan turned his head away in embarrassment, avoiding my gaze, and said in a low voice, "Ashley Lynn, I was wrong. I'm sorry for what I did to you before. What do you want now? Anything I have, I'm willing to make up for it." 5 years into our marriage, this was the first time Ethan asked me what I wanted. When we were in love, he could tell what I was thinking with just a look. Now that we were about to part ways, even that old understanding was gone. Just as I couldn't understand his heart anymore, he couldn't understand what I wanted now. I said calmly, "I don't need any compensation. Don't worry, I always keep my word. Since I promised to divorce you, I won't go back on it." Ethan wanted to deny it. "Ashley Lynn, T's not what I meant, But halfway through his words, he looked up and met my eyes, realizing that I was serious, and was immediately stunned. "Ashley Lynn, do you really want to divorce me?" I couldn't help but laugh, but weren't you the one who first proposed the divorce? Ethan was instantly choked. After that night, Ethan's attitude towards me changed 180 degrees overnight. He was no longer like a hedgehog, aggressive towards me. He took the initiative to talk to me, and also took the initiative to mention the details of when we were in love. After all, we were a couple, and I didn't want to make things too awkward in the live stream, so I smiled and echoed a few words. Our interaction became harmonious. It seemed like we were back to when we were in love. Everyone, including Ethan, thought that our rift was caused by a misunderstanding, and now that the misunderstanding was resolved, our relationship was warming up. The show crew was eager to push things along. On the 9th day of the live broadcast, after dinner in the Airbnb's yard, Ethan suddenly stood up and made a gesture. The big lights in the yard immediately went out. But in an instant, countless small lights lit up, as if scattering a field of stars in the yard. Light and pleasant piano music also rose up. I was stunned. When I came back to my senses, Ethan didn't know when he had a bouquet of roses and was walking towards me. Ashley Lynn, I was wrong about everything before. He was deeply affectionate. In the sea of starlight, he knelt on one knee like he did when he proposed, and handed me the bouquet of roses. I will definitely change in the future. Please give me another chance, okay? Creating surprises and romance had always been Ethan's forte. But at this moment, I couldn't tell if he was being sincere or just putting on an act. But none of it mattered. I didn't take the bouquet of roses, and I was too tired to cooperate with him any longer. I said coldly, "This is pointless." On the first day of the show, you told me not to bother trying to please you anymore. In front of the live stream, you said my love was too heavy and suffocated you. In order to achieve the goal of divorce, you deliberately created conflicts and contradictions between us on the show, allowed your agent to hire online trolls to manipulate the narrative and cyberbully me, and even affected my parents. You even used my life as a show, buying me peanut brittle with sesame seeds, just to create a persona of me being unreasonable. You know I'm allergic to sesame seeds, and eating sesame seeds will cause rashes all over my body and even suffocation. As my voice softened, Ethan's face turned paler and paler. You knew? He mumbled. Yes, I knew. At this time, the piano music stopped. The show crew, Ian Jiang, who was playing the piano, Laura Sue, and others couldn't help but peek out from their hiding places. The expressions on their faces changed from surprise to silence. Even the comments in the live stream turned from blessings to a screen full of question marks. Everyone thought that Ethan would definitely put down his superstar status, take the initiative to admit his mistake, and I would follow his lead, forgive him, and then cooperate in staging a reconciliation scene. That way, the show would get more viewers, and we wouldn't have to get divorced. After all, there was no third party involved in my relationship with Ethan. As long as there were no fundamental issues between husband and wife, there was a chance to start over. No one knew that Ethan had put so much effort into getting a divorce. Now that I had exposed him, the loving husband persona he had created would collapse. Ethan also realized this and tried to stop me from saying any more, grabbing my hand in a panic and pleading, "Ashley Lynn, I was wrong. I'll change. Can we not get divorced? I misunderstood you before. I thought you didn't want me to go out and film anymore, so you deliberately obstruct me and made me miss the opportunity to play the male lead in Galaxy. Over the years, there's been no one else in my heart but you. After so many years of relationship, can you really bear to give up like this?" Ethan tried to play the emotional card. Over the years, he had indeed been consistent, a clean stream in the chaotic entertainment industry. But he didn't cheat, not because he loved me, but because if he cheated and it was exposed, he would be ruined, his career would be ruined, and he might even have to pay a pile of breach of contract fees for his commercial endorsements. The cost was too high for him to bear. He was clearly doing it for profit, but he had to use emotion as a cover. I broke free from Ethan, and smiled sarcastically, "You're the one who gave up on our relationship of so many years first. If you had any consideration for our relationship, you wouldn't have forced me to sign that agreement before the show, giving you 8 parts of our marital property and me too." Ethan choked, and wanted to argue something more. I was too lazy to listen anymore. I took out my phone and showed him the text message confirming my successful online appointment for divorce. I've already made an appointment online. We'll go directly to City Hall to complete the divorce procedures after the show ends tomorrow. The next day, I waited for a long time, but Ethan didn't show up. I called him, but his phone was turned off. I searched everywhere in the Airbnb, but he was nowhere to be found. Finally, I asked the staff of the Goodbye Us show to check the Airbnb surveillance footage. I learned that Ethan had left with his suitcase in the middle of the night. His behavior was tantamount to adding more heat to the show. After I revealed Ethan's secrets last night, his reputation plummeted. The public opinions that had previously attacked me were now all on Ethan. A batch of Ethan's old fans also unfollowed him. I only became a fan of him because he announced his marriage and was gentle and considerate to his wife. I didn't expect it all to be a facade. Loving his wife is fake, scheming against his wife is real. Ashley Lynn is so miserable. 3 years of dating, 5 years of marriage, and in the end, she was forced to sign a property agreement giving her only 20%. So never believe the ghost stories about accompanying a man to grow up. The first thing he does when he gets to shore is cut off his wife. You suffer with him, and when he becomes famous, he gets divorced and finds a new love, not even wanting to share the marital property with you. Overnight, the internet was full of criticism of Ethan. With Ethan nowhere to be found, the viewers in the live stream were even more ruthless in calling Ethan a coward. On the first day of the show, didn't Ethan swear that he wanted a divorce? Where is he now? Whoever doesn't get a divorce is a dog. Where's the dog? Where did it go? Until evening, when I returned home, I saw Ethan with a bruised face. I learned that he had left early without a word to find his agent. He had a fight with his agent. If it weren't for my agent refusing the Galaxy movie offer behind my back and pushing everything onto you, our relationship wouldn't have had problems. Ethan's eyes were red, and he begged me in a hoarse voice to give him another chance. As humble as I was when I begged him not to divorce me, I shook my head and handed him a divorce agreement. Sign it. In the end, Ethan signed the divorce agreement. After all, he was a public figure, and the longer the divorce dragged on, the more detrimental it would be to him. But on the day he received the divorce certificate, he invalidated the property agreement that gave him 80% of the assets and drafted a new property division agreement. In the agreement, he changed the property allocation ratio to 80% for me and 20% for him. I'm not one to argue with money, so I smiled and signed it. After getting the divorce certificate, I called my teacher and asked her, "Do you still mean what you said last year?" At my teacher's birthday party last year, she suggested that I go to New York City to continue studying dance and inherit her legacy. At the time, my relationship with Ethan hadn't broken down, and I couldn't bear to leave my home in Seattle, so I politely declined my teacher's offer. My teacher wasn't displeased at the time, only saying, "Call me whenever you change your mind." Now that she received my call, she didn't mind. She only told me that the last flight to New York City today was at 3 p.m. If you can make it, you can come home for dinner. Tonight, Director Jack is cooking. After hanging up the phone, I immediately booked a flight to New York City. A year later, I once again took to the stage of the New York City Opera House as a ballet dancer, performing my original dance, Breaking Free. The pianist who accompanied me was Ian Jiang. Laura Sue also came to the performance. Like me, she got divorced after the Goodbye Us show. Over the past year, we've gathered whenever we had time and became the best of friends. Now that I was performing on stage again after 6 years, Laura Sue naturally wouldn't be absent. But I didn't expect Ethan to come too. He was sitting in the seat next to Laura Sue, holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand. But it was no longer gaudy roses, but my favorite bellflower. After a year, Ethan seemed like a different person. The dazzling energy he had before had subsided. He was no longer the high-spirited superstar. After he had a falling out with his agent, he became independent and worked on his own. In addition, the divorce scandal caused his reputation to collapse and his image to be damaged, resulting in his resources declining again and again. Even the commercial endorsements he had previously received were all terminated. The entertainment industry updates and iterates quickly. In just 1 year, Ethan had gone from a top star to a nobody. Now he could only get roles as supporting characters. After I finished dancing, amidst thunderous applause, Ethan walked onto the stage, handed me the flowers, and said with a smile, "Congratulations, after all these years, the way you dance is still so mesmerizing." This scene was very similar to the scene when he proposed to me. Except that this time Ian Jeong didn't choose to stand by. He stood up, blocked me, took the bouquet of bellflower, and asked with some hostility, "Mr. Shi, what brings you here? Shouldn't you be filming in Seattle at this time?" Ethan was stunned, his eyes darting back and forth between me and Ian Jeong. "You guys." He seemed to have misunderstood the relationship between me and Ian Jeong, his eyes dimmed, and he smiled reluctantly. "I had a temporary event in New York City, and I heard that Ashley Lynn had a performance today, so I came to see it by the way." He paused, looked past Ian Jeong, and looked at me. "I'm sorry, I delayed you for many years. I'm very happy to see you back on stage now. I wish you well, and congratulations." I smiled politely at him, "Thank you." A few moments of disappointment flashed across Ethan's face. His lips moved, and he hesitated several times, but in the end, he didn't say anything and left. Ian Jeong, holding the flowers, said he would see Ethan off and followed him out. Watching the backs of the two men, Laura Sue bumped me with her arm, with a gossipy expression, "Are you and Ian Jeong a thing?" I shook my head and denied, "Just friends. As for whether it will go beyond the boundaries of friendship in the future, that's up to time to verify. At the moment, love is icing on the cake for me. Without it, my life won't be dull." The end.